Fuck you, bitch! Hi, welcome to Should You Buy It, where I help you decide whether or not a game's worth your time and money. Today I'm stumped with what's easily the most important question in the history of mankind. Should I buy a Nintendo 3DS or a Nintendo Switch? Now, if you're watching a gaming video on YouTube, chances are you already own one or both, but let's assume that you don't have either yet. The choice may seem obvious, seeing as how the Switch is what Nintendo's going to be focusing on the next few years while the 3DS is running on fumes. But with the surprising announcement of the new 2DS XL and the fact that it's half as much as a Nintendo Switch makes the decision an ass-hair more difficult to make. While the Switch's future is promising, there's not nearly as many games out for it as its handheld predecessor. So for half the price and like 80 times as many games that also happen to be cheaper, should you buy a new 2DS XL? Or plan for the future? Let's figure it out. Okay, so the Switch has been out for about 4 months now, so comparing it to the 2DS or 3DS might not be all that fair. And while the 3DS obviously has way more games available for it at the moment, the Switch still has a pretty decent selection for a console that's only been out for a few months, despite 2 of its biggest games being Wii U ports. Not to mention, there's still plenty of goodies on the way, with Mario Odyssey looking like it could be the best Mario game ever made. Plus, there's surely more on the way that we don't even know about yet. If the question was which system you should get if you could only pick one, then I'd gamble and say the Switch. But I want to answer the question on which you should buy right now in 2017. Because unlike the NES and SNES Classic Editions, Nintendo isn't making a limited run of Switches. So it's worth considering that not only will there be more Switch games if you wait a little longer to pick one up, but there's also a good chance that some of the current games will be cheaper in the future as well. And don't forget that Nintendo's still trying to figure God knows what out before they give the Switch Virtual Console games. In addition to there being more physical games available, the 3DS also has plenty of games from the NES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Color, and even Game Gear all ready to download and play on the go. Sadly though, you can't hook it up and play it on your TV, so that is one thing the Switch does have going for it. Also, when the Virtual Console is eventually released on the Switch, we're supposedly gonna have the option to play games online, which is definitely something to consider. However, that's another thing that'll be available in the future, which further argues that you should maybe wait a little longer before fondling the Switch for yourself. While we're on the subject of playing games online, there really isn't anything to say as far as the 3DS is concerned. However, the headset situation for the Switch really isn't all that promising at the moment either. Like, not at all. Still though, the butt-ass headset is something that can be fixed in the future, and for Nintendo's sake, I'm optimistic that they will. If not, we still have Discord and Skype, I guess. But that sucks. Before we move on from the Virtual Console, though, if you get a 3DS instead of 2DS, you can play some Genesis games in 3D, so, you know, there's that. And after that seamless segue into the 3D discussion, let's be real, nobody gives a shit about playing in 3D. In fact, I went undercover at Nintendo's headquarters in Kyoto, Japan, and procured actual footage of Nintendo deciding to get rid of the 3D once and for all.
We're here in Kyoto, Japan at the Nintendo headquarters to get the real scoop.
Thank you, fans of Nintendo, for being here today. Does anybody in this room really want 3D for the 3DS?
Yeah, it's cool. What do you mean?
No, I mean, like, do you actually want it? Like, seriously?
Yeah, sure, of course.
So you are willing to pay an extra $50 for it then?
Wait, what? Fuck no! I never used the 3D, you bitch! The new 2DS XL, ladies and gentlemen. I know this model of the 2DS has been a thing for years now, and although it's surprisingly comfortable, it's cheaply made and you can't even close it, so suck my pet. The new 2DS XL is something people should seriously consider. And another advantage of getting Nintendo's final handheld first, other than giving the Switch time for more games to come out, is that it'll give Nintendo time to sort a few kinks out. If you were one of the first people to get a Nintendo Switch, then you might have had a few problems with the tablet bending more than a porn star's pee-pee after being docked for too long, or with the left Joy-Con being an asshole. If your console was or still is being a dick, then Nintendo will fix it for you for free, but it's still a hassle to have to send it in and wait for it to get back to you. I mean, what am I supposed to do in the meantime? Smell my own shit? Because I will. And then who's gonna end up looking dumb, huh, Nintendo? So what better way to get back at N-Dog for making a faulty Switch than to spend your hard-earned money on another product that they also make? It'd sure make them think twice about releasing hardware in the future without fully testing it properly, I'd wager as much. I know Nintendo fixed the bending and Joy-Con issues with all the Switches being manufactured from here on out, but who's to say there's not a problem or two that still haven't come up yet? So opting for a 3DS or a new 2DS XL or whatever the fuck will not only give the Switch time to develop a more robust library of games, improve its hardware, and hopefully give us better and dare I say competent online options, not to mention the potential of having more colorways available, but the 3DS still has some great stuff coming out for it, especially if you don't live in Japan, with plenty of their exclusives getting translations for the rest of the world, or at least in English. There's even been some neat games already released in 2017, like Ever Oasis and Fire Emblem Echoes. And if you want a gaming device with updated Wii U ports, then the Switch isn't the only answer in town, since since Super Mario Maker and Yoshi's Woolly World both made their way to the 3DS. Plus, there's still games on the way like Miitopia, Eternian Odyssey 5, a new Shin Megami Tensei game, You've Got Mail, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon, Monster Hunter Stories, Men in Black Men, Hey Pikmin, and a Metroid 2 remake. Even if for some reason you couldn't play any of the 3DS's older games, which you can in addition to countless original DS games, Cough Noise, and the Virtual Console, the 3DS still holds up pretty well against the Nintendo Switch, especially since the console is half the price and the games themselves are cheaper as well. Sure, nothing coming out for the 3DS this year is going to be as good as Breath of the Wild, and probably won't even compare to Mario Odyssey, but at half the price and hundreds more games to choose from, it's hard to recommend a Switch over a 3DS at this point in time if you're on a budget and can only pick one. Again though, I'm not trying to completely carp on the Switch. The graphics are obviously far better on the hybrid console, and while both are portable, the fact that you can play the Switch on your TV is a nice addition, even though you can't watch Netflix or YouTube yet for some reason like you can on the 3DS. Sorry. I know this is the part where I'm supposed to make a case for the Switch over the 3DS, but it's just kinda hard to if you can only pick one in 2017. The Switch definitely has more potential and is a better long-term investment, but for the price of a Switch without any games, you can get a new 2DS XL and at least 3 games. And probably even more than that if you missed out on the system completely and don't mind playing older games. You could get a regular 2DS if you're wanting to be extra thrifty, but like I said before, that model just isn't as comfortable and won't play a small handful of games. So make sure you get a 2/3DS model with new in the title, as much as I hate Nintendo for using that word with their products in the first place. Chances are most people already own or have owned a 3DS and want something new, so if that's the case, then fuck me, go buy a Switch. But 3DSs still sell fairly well, and Nintendo making the new 2DS XL seems to indicate that there's a decent amount of people out there who've never owned a 3DS, hence why they're still making them, at least in 2D. Either that or it's just another ass-backwards day for Nintendo as usual. Personally, I know a decent amount of gamers who've never had Nintendo's final focused handheld device, so it's really not that hard to fathom why there's still some interest left in it. I mean, look at how long the Game Boy stuck around for. And if you missed the 3DS completely, then I feel sorry for you. The main thing that'd suck about waiting to buy a Switch is that you'd be late to the party for games like Mario Odyssey, and it'd be lame to play it like a year after everybody else and potentially miss out on talking about it with your buds. But it'll still be fun no matter when you play it, and there's sure to be more big games later on that you can join the hype for. Just remember, I'm not saying the Switch sucks. It's awesome. The question here is which you should buy in 2017, assuming you've never played either and can only pick one. And while the Switch is a better long-term investment, and not at all a bad choice if you could find one that is, I'd have to go with the 3DS for now, and then get a Switch next year. But what do I know? I'm just some fat douchebag on the internet who shits the bed. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. Anyway, thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments down below which you think is a better purchase in 2017. And if you liked this video, give it a dirty little like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Or, you know, check our other videos out and then decide if you want to subscribe from there. I mean, I put 2 right there, so, you know. Yeah, my mom named me Cameron, and I'll see you next time.
So I want to say thank you to your loyalty, thank you for your support.